Hey, everybody. We're going to wave or do this or something because we can now because we are on video, which is pretty sweet. That is if you're watching on YouTube or on video. If you're still watching on iTunes or places like that.
I believe that's called listening.
But that's awesome, too. We're okay with any of that, whichever way you want to listen. And, oh my gosh, Kip just fell on me. See, if you're just listening, you missed that. But
we're coming at you live in glorious Technicolor.
Glorious digital Technicolor. Not quite 70 millimeter, but something like that.
Someday,
yeah,
when we amass our millions.
Yeah, except even the millions aren't doing 70 millimeter. So, but yeah, on this episode, we're going to go over, we decided to do kind of a blend of fan fiction.
We're going completely off script, people. We're not reviewing anything.
No, this isn't review, but what we did was, there's all these, we've had verses over the years. We've had Alien versus Predator, Freddy versus Jason, Batman
v
Superman. Not quite a versus, but it's what the V was implying. And so on this episode, we decided, let's take two characters we think are interesting.
Or monsters.
And blend them into a versus universe.
Yes.
So what we've done, because apparently we have a lot of time on our hands, is we've each kind of written a synopsis of our movies. So it's not just like a title that we're going to throw at you and be like, I want to see this versus this. But we actually wrote out synopsize?
I don't think that's a thing. Synopsis.
And so, yeah. And it's going to be great. And for you people who are watching the video thing, I'm going to throw up some mock visual images for you to see when we each bring up our ideas. So that's something to some little bonus. We're trying to throw little bonuses for you visual audience, but we still appreciate you listeners too. But so Dakota's gonna go first, and I have like a shred of what he's doing, but he was scratching like a serial killer. That's all I'm gonna say. And so let's see what he's come up for us with his what versus what here in the synopsis. So what do you got?
When you were summing up this episode, I thought about stopping you. When you said we picked two monsters, creatures, whatever. Because I went all out on this episode, baby.
Oh boy, what do you got?
All right. I wasn't sure what to call this movie, so I called it Ash from the Evil Dead versus Evil. And you're going to understand why I titled it.
So not Evil Dead, just evil.
Yes, evil in general.
So everything evil?
Well, I couldn't find a way to fit Pinhead and or zombies in this story. Give me some time, I maybe get back to you. Maybe we save that for a sequel. Ooh, there we go.
There it is.
Along with the Jeepers Creepers
franchise.
All right. So, people, I want you to picture a nice night. Full moon's out. It's a little foggy out. We're gonna be in a bar, a really run down, seedy bar, the kind of bar where you find people who are just looking to get drunk and forget about their day. That's where we're gonna find Ash.
Because he lost the presidency.
Yeah. He's gonna be sitting there with his with a beer, attempting to chat up a very drunk cougar who's not really reciprocating at all. She's gone. She's not even there, not even listening to him. So he turns to the barkeep and is like, "Hey, barkeep, how's it going?" They start chatting up. He's like, eventually Ash gets to the point where he's like, "You're probably wondering where I lost this hand." The barkeep has no interest in how he lost his hand.
FYI, Ash is missing hand.
So he goes into the whole story of the Evil Dead, what happened in the second Evil Dead movie, and in Army of Darkness.
Okay.
That's just a mere couple minutes of this movie. We get that.
So it's like a prologue.
Yes. Anyway, we get to the real meat of the potato here. Ash starts talking about what happened after, going back to his life minus his friends and his sister, because those people are dead now. Spoiler
alert.
Anyway, so he tries to go back to his job, and it just doesn't fulfill him at all. He feels just empty inside. He's suffering from PTSD. He looks back on it, and he starts drinking a lot. He starts to realize that the most traumatic events of his life were actually the only time in his life he felt alive. So he says to himself, there's got to be more evil out in the world. And with my trusty chainsaw and my boomstick, I could go out there and I could take them on. Because I took on the worst of the worst and I survived. It made me stronger.
And what exactly is the boomstick?
That's what he calls his sawed-off shotgun.
And is it attached to him?
No.
That's not what it's...
No.
Okay.
Come on, man. How do you not know this?
It's been a while.
Okay. Anyway, so he starts going to his local library, looking at newspapers from all over the country, trying to look for the unusual things that your normal cop wouldn't be able to handle, or your FBI agent,
or care about, probably.
Yeah. That's where his story gets really interesting. That's where he hears of a little boy named Michael Myers.
Oh, okay. All right.
And his subsequent story of being in mental hospitals, escaping,
and creating Austin Powers,
killing random teenagers who have the audacity to get freaky on Halloween. So he decides he's going to go out and hunt him. And he goes about it in the creepiest way possible. He starts stalking Michael Myers' sister, because he knows eventually he's going to come back looking for her. And sure enough, he does.
Which is... Michael Myers' sister is played by...
Jamie Lee Curtis is still looking pretty good. So we can just have her do
Having her do it again?
Yeah. But anyway, yes, I know she was killed in one of the movies. We're ignoring that movie.
Oh, there's a lot of ignoring of timelines in this episode. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yes, we're ignoring timelines up the anus. But anyway, I'm going to continue
Very
on.
graphic.
So he catches Michael Myers, and he realizes there's a huge battle. He realizes Michael Myers isn't your typical serial killer. He's not going to go down without a fight. So he gets crafty. He dismembers him with his trusty chainsaw. He just dismembers him, and he takes the body parts to various landfills and just throws them in there. But
he has Michael Myers' body parts spread throughout the land?
Yes, but he keeps the head, just in case. So,
wearing the William Shatner mask?
Yes, he just throws in some formaldehyde, puts it in the trunk of his car, just starts driving.
Okay.
He goes home, he recuperates, kind of gives himself a pat on the back, saying, "Hey, I did good. I can't wait to do this again." So he keeps his eyes out. Eventually, he comes across a news article about this killer doll named Chucky. So he's like, "Okay, all right, killer doll. Oh, I got this in the bag. I'm gonna get out there, shut this little guy down, be home in time,
blow his face off with the boomstick,
be home in time for whatever sports team he likes to watch play their game." So he goes out. He's looking for him. No luck. He gets the idea, I'll just go find the kid that this doll's obsessed with. Just stalk him until the doll eventually shows up. It takes the doll months to show up. Because, it takes Chucky a while to get going again once you kill him and destroy him and everything. So he eventually catches the doll, throws the doll in his trunk, chains him up first to make sure he doesn't get loose. Of course, because it's Chucky, he does get loose. And he crawls out of the trunk through the back seat and attacks Ash. And meanwhile, Ash is fighting this doll, while he's trying to drive and not, kill themselves. Eventually, he goes in the ditch.
So he keeps driving while he's fighting Chucky?
Yeah. He actually speeds up a bit, which is pretty dangerous. But anyway, eventually they crash. The doll gets out, starts walking away. Boom! Chucky's head explodes. Another victim of Ash's boomstick.
He does shoot him in the face.
Yeah. Because that's what he does. He shot his own twin in the face. His own clone. Doppelganger. Whatever you want to call it. He shot him in the face. He doesn't care about evil. He shoots it in the face. That's how he handles problems. But just like with Michael Myers, he doesn't want to leave it to chance. So he takes Chucky's body to the nearest construction site, starts mixing some concrete, throws his body somewhere where it's eventually going to be part of a building, covers it in concrete, and he just sits there and waits till the concrete hardens. Then once that's done, he's like, "Yeah, I beat you," and he goes home. He continues. He tries to heal himself because obviously he's going to be injured after taking on Chucky. So he heals. He drinks.
Chucky is the size of a My Buddy doll.
Continues to chase after loose women who are just completely bad for him. Okay, after that, he eventually starts hunting again. This is when he hears about a little place called Elm Street. So he goes to Elm Street, has no luck. But kids
There's a lot of rights you have to get for this movie.
Anyway, he continues his hunt for this killer. Eventually, he just chalks it up to, hey, maybe there's no one here. Maybe these kids are offing themselves. So he goes home. Turns out, Freddy followed him all the way home.
Uh-oh. And we all know where Freddy gets you.
Ash goes back to his trailer, has a drink, lays down, and goes to sleep.
He has a trailer.
And this is where it gets interesting. This is where he relives the events of that killed his sister and his friends, and eventually he's stuck like this for a while. And Freddy's just toying with him instead of the Deadites killing him. It's Freddy, and he's stuck in this cabin and he's watching this stuff all over and over again. Eventually, he's able to like snap out of it, and he wakes up, and he's shaking a bit. He doesn't know what to do. Eventually, I can't remember the character from the first Nightmare on Elm Street shows up for no reason.
Like the girl?
Yeah, no reason.
Nancy?
Nancy, yes. Shows up out of the blue and tells Ash what's going on and how to kill him. So Ash is like, okay, I gotta catch him in my dream and pull him out of the dream, and then I can kill him. So he goes to bed like he would any night. Naturally, Freddy shows up. They fight. He pulls him out of the dream world into the real world, and then they fight some more because that's how this usually goes down. Ash finally gets him on the ground. He's getting ready to blow his head off. Then he has a great idea. He says to himself, if I kill you, you'll just come back eventually. So how about I take you back to wherever the hell you're from, turn you into the cops, let you rot in prison for 50 years. That way you can't do anyone any harm. And Freddy's like, oh no, no, kill me now. And there's another fight. Ash knocks him out, turns him into the cops. Next thing you know, Freddy's face is everywhere, plastered all over the newspaper. He's America's greatest serial killer, and he's going to prison for like 800 life sentences or something like that.
Pretty close at this point.
Anyway, we get back to Ash in the bar, and Ash is bragging up how, he saved so many people throughout his years, and he's like, this Ash, by the way, is also kind of old, just the way the actor that plays Ash is. I'm drawing a blank. What was his name?
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. And he's talking about how his old bones can't do it anymore, and he has all these injuries. But he tells the bartender, I got one more, though, then I could retire. And he's like...
Fatal mistake whenever you say one more to retirement.
And the bartender's like, oh, yeah? Who's that? He's like, oh, nothing. Just this little mama's boy lives down the road here. Tonight's his night. I'm going to go pay him a little visit. And the bartender at this point is kind of heading off. He's like, well, it's closing time. You should probably go do that. Ash finishes the rest of his beer.
Go do that.
Ash finishes the rest of his beer, gives the guy a tip. He says to the bartender, keep your eyes on the paper. You'll be hearing about me in the morning. And he walks out, gets in his piece of crap car, and starts driving towards Camp Crystal Lake. End credits.
Oh.
End credits.
End credits. Hanging for a sequel.
Yeah.
Camp Crystal Lake.
Comments, concerns, regrets.
Concern would be just the number of rights that you would have to get from different studios.
Yeah. We don't care about rights here,
As
though.
far as comments, I think we know who needs to be in all these movies to take care of the problem. It seems like Ash gets it done.
Exactly. That's why this is titled Ash vs. Evil. He takes on everyone.
It should be Ash defeats evil. Oh, man. That's pretty solid.
I tried, man.
That's pretty solid. I mean, there was a lot going on, but it seemed to have a cohesive story going on, which is always a plus. And that's too scattered. Unlike mine, I'm sure mine will be nice and scattered.
Oh, man. I'm waiting to hear this, honestly.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that was pretty good. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to follow that one. I'm gonna try here.
Hold on to your butts, people.
Hold on to your butts. So when I was trying to think of what would be an interesting new angle on somebody versus somebody or something versus something, and sometimes you just got to go with the first two that come to your mind.
That's generally a good idea, I suppose.
It can be, and I'm hoping this is one of those times where it's a good idea. Mine is this is a tentative title because these aren't really their names. Jaws versus Tremors, or it could be called Bruce's kin versus Graboids. But Jaws versus Tremors is the basic premise. So the first fence you have to get over is, how does a water-bound creature fight a desert creature? Let me tell you. So, the events of Tremors happen in the desert of Arizona, kind of Arizona, California, in that area. And so what had happened was the graboids, which are what those giant worms in Tremors are called, make it to the ocean. They come out at the ocean, and the first few drown pretty quickly. They get in there, can't handle it, and die. But they begin to adapt to living in the ocean because that's what Tremors do. Tremors they always have them evolving in the movies, like becoming something different. Like in the second one, they shoot fire out of their butts and glide around.
I know in one of them they turned into these ugly little things that could walk. Yeah,
yeah, those are the ones that shoot the fire out of their butts and fly.
Oh,
but we're kind of ignoring those. This is really only going to involve the first Jaws and the first Tremors, and kind of forgetting about the other stuff. And so, like I said, so they adapt to living in the ocean, and we're going to get into how far that adaptation goes. But what happens is they run into Jaws' kin, because we all know at the end of Jaws, Chief Brody tells him to smile and blows him up. But this is going to be the giant great whites from, excuse me a second, technical difficulties. The giant great white that blows up at the end of Jaws, this is his kin, like his family. He had family before he was killed. And so they have their first tussle with the shark, and the shark just takes on a couple of the graboids come, and the shark just tears up one of the graboids rather quickly. Pretty expected, right? He's a killing machine. So he rips it apart, and we're going to cut to kind of Hooper, which is Richard Dreyfuss's character from Jaws. He comes onto the scene in the movie, and he's been searching out Jaws's the shark from Jaws's lineage, and so he's like trying to search out to make sure there's no more like
bloodthirsty great whites.
Yeah, he's searching out like this line of bloodthirsty great whites and trying to take them out from, hurting anyone else or damaging things and then killing people. And so what happens is in his search for these great whites, he finds evidence of these graboids. He sees them, and maybe even have like a moment where if you guys remember Roy Scheider when he's throwing the chum in the water and then he pops his head back when the giant shark comes up. You can maybe have a moment like that where Hooper thought he sees something in the water and thinks it's a great white, and he looks, and like one of the graboid worm things comes like, and he kind of like pops back. And so he starts to research and finds that there were these events in perfection that happens, and he ends up calling one of the people involved in those events. He calls up Valentine McKee.
Oh, God.
Which, that's his full name. Valentine McKee is his full name. He went by Val in the movie Kevin Bacon.
Oh, I forgot that was his name. Classic name.
So Richard Dreyfuss's Hooper calls up Kevin Bacon's character Val, and Val reluctantly comes to the aid of Hooper, saying, well, if we're going to do this, you're going to need a lot of dynamite, because that's how they took out the graboids. They fished them with dynamite. So, meanwhile, the graboids, now referred to as suboids, have learned to use a form of sonar similar to the vibration sensing they already did, and they're taking over the local waters. They're just taking out everything. They're just becoming these ruthless swimming suboid machines.
You know what would be a good idea? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
What's that?
To get people to really care, you gotta massacre dolphins.
Yeah, just wrapping around dolphins. They're just splitting dolphins in two. I mean, if you think getting caught in a tuna net's bad, oh man.
Maybe a beautiful sperm whale, and it's like do battle, and the sperm whale barely.
I would
escapes
say
life.
orca, but after seeing Blackfish, they kind of have a killer reputation now. So.
Yeah.
So it's taking over the local waters, killing dolphins left and right, which is worse than people.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to
PETA
and YouTube. But
So
Hooper and Val are seeing this happen and realize that the giant great white is the only one who can stop these suboids. And they're like, we got to come to the aid of this great white. We can't get rid of it. There's nothing else that can really match these crazy giant worm suboid machines. So they help lure and blow up the ones they can as the shark underwater is killing other suboids. So there's kind of like this cool kind of fight scene with underwater killings happening, and we're seeing Hooper and Val working on the top, doing their different things that Val kind of learned from his dealings with them in Arizona, whereas Hooper's kind of has the ocean knowledge. And you got all this going on. But the final culmination battle will be the final suboid has developed the ability to shoot flying fish worms. So like the worms that would come out and would grab, he now shoots those, and they're like flying fish things that come, and then they grab and they'll wrap around you and like start eating you.
So like eels,
but with like wings and more fishy.
Okay.
And so he's shooting these out, and Kevin Bacon is just hosing them down with like machine guns, just like blasting them out of the air. That weird spaghetti sauce colored blood from the first Tremors movie is just shooting everywhere. and so this final suboid's doing that. Kevin Bacon's hosing down flying fish worms, and then that suboid just charges their boat. Is like full speed tearing at the boat like it did in the dirt, but now it's like just swimming full speed. And then when it's about 40 yards from the boat, it just comes shooting up out of the water, and it's just like has this face of like, you two are mine.
Okay.
Val and Hooper give each other a nod, like, we did our best, man. And when that happens, the shark comes flying over the other side of the boat, just shooting up out of the water itself, breaks like the top of their boat a little bit because it doesn't quite make it all the way because it's big, and it smacks the top of their boat, sailing over the top of their boat, comes down on the subway and just mutilates it, just rips it apart in like Discovery Channel great white shark fashion. So it's just like that spaghetti sauce, blood shooting everywhere, just mutilating it apart.
Oh, man.
And the shark, we kind of have that moment then where the shark's kind of like laying there in there. It's kind of just floating there, and they're like, oh, man, that great white just killed itself, like helping us out. And then you kind of see it kind of twitch a second, and it kind of just swims off, like it just kind of the moment of like it put everything into that jump, Oh, yeah, I'm breaking stuff. Sorry, Napoleon. And so that would kind of be the gist of Jaws versus Tremors, or Graboids versus Shark, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
Let's just go with Sharks versus Tremors. How about that?
Yeah, Sharks versus Tremors. But it's got to have the Jaws franchise attached to it. So, but I mean, I just want this movie to be like just awesome in all of the right silly ways, and I think the best way to make that happen is to have Richard Dreyfuss and Kevin Bacon come back. If Kevin Bacon's willing to do those eggs commercials, he'll do this, man.
And if
you told him he would get to stand on a boat with a machine gun, hosing down flying fish worms, I would do that in a heartbeat. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, we all know. I'm pretty sure Richard Dreyfuss would, just seeing as how he was in Piranha.
Yeah, he basically already parodied himself in a different movie.
Oh.
Oh, man, how epic would that be, people? And honestly, I'm impressed, Dakota. That year's kind of works. And Ash is kind of back in the social zeitgeist.
Yeah, he has
with his TV show.
I don't know how that's doing. I don't know if the second season has started, but I'll have to look into that. But
it's pretty quick here. I know it's pretty. They're gonna introduce his dad and things like that, and it's pretty popular.
Yeah,
and he's running for president. Ash is, which I don't know if it's totally legal since he's fictional. But
I think at this point, I'd vote for E.T. if he was running.
I would vote for this great white shark. He put his all into protecting the oceans. So
it's time to make America watery again. I don't know.
To make America tremorless.
There you go.
Anyway, those are just a couple of our versus ideas.
Should we tell the people what other ones we had kicking around?
Oh, yeah, I got another one that I thought.
Wait for it, people. Wait for it.
I would like to make this work still, and I think someday I am. It'd be the Amityville House versus Monster House. There's a way to make this work. It's all in here. It's coming together. But that was another idea I had. We decided to both just stick to one and just make one epic premise for you guys out of them. So what was another one you had?
I had a couple. One I wasn't sure about. That's why I didn't even try to entertain how I would do it. Yes, Stephen King's It.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Pennywise.
Versus The Thing. Yes.
That's pretty cool because you got two, like, weird nouns being used. Yeah. It and thing.
Oh, it gets better. Another one that we came up with: The Terminator versus Alien.
Forgot about that one. Yes. That would be kind of cool. And is a little more plausible than some of the other ones we've come up with.
Here's the thing. Since James Cameron has all this money now, and he wants to do another Terminator movie, this is how he comes back.
James, we know you watch our show. Stop blowing your money on Avatar.
Yeah.
And make this happen. That's all I gotta say about that. Terminator versus Alien.
Yes.
Come on. Somehow Bill Paxton could come back. I just know it. Somehow.
Well, that's the. I think the Terminator series is like the only one he wasn't in, right?
No, he was the punk.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
first
that's right.
Terminator who had like the blue mohawk. So yeah, Bill
Yeah.
Paxton. James Cameron loves Bill Paxton. Who doesn't though? And if you haven't seen Live, Die, Repeat or Edge of Tomorrow, whatever you want to call it, Bill Paxton's pretty awesome in that. It's like a perfect role for him. But yeah. So anyway, hope you enjoyed just hearing our ideas and listening to us ramble off our chicken scratch. And if you guys have any other versus ideas, we'd love to hear them. You can throw them in the comments on YouTube here or tell us them on Facebook or places like that. It's always fun to hear people's different ideas for movies because honestly, as we were talking about, anymore, nothing is too crazy.
Yeah.
Look what they're doing, people.
It's only going to be a matter of time, people.
It's a matter of time
before we see snakes on a plane versus zombies. I think that was a thing already, really.
Yeah. Zombies on a plane? Wait,
No,
that kind of happened in World War Z.
Snakes on a plane versus zombies, man.
Wow, that's really going.
Yeah, yeah. They're both vying for the flesh.
So yeah,
People.
on that, we hope you subscribe to us here on YouTube or on iTunes, all those places that you guys
We're on the
listen to us.
Facebook now.
You can cyber us. find us on the Facebook. And
Maybe we'll create a post office box here shortly for those of you
snail
that
mail.
aren't- for those of
Yeah.
you that aren't really invested in this whole internet thing.
Social media wise, and maybe this makes us sound like old people anyway, is social media wise, we probably put the most on Facebook. It's just the easiest one to reach out to people on with what we do. And so that's the one we use the most if you care to follow us on one of those. We use it for, obviously updates on our podcast stuff, but also just movie news that we find that we think is interesting. And so, yeah, hope you do that. But thanks for listening, watching, however you're doing it. We love it and appreciate it. And yeah, this is Steven.
And this is Dakota.
We'll catch you later. And we need a Hellboy fist bump for the road. Boom.